Hawkgirl issue 2, Josiah Axelrod and Amankini Hulpin on the art. So we read issue 1 and we didn't love it, but there was some things I liked about it. I do think this issue 2 is a little bit messier.
Yes.
And how it's particularly because I really liked how it set up the villain in the first issue, and I feel like this one, the villain stuff early on felt a little bit more haphazard to me.
Yeah. Also, the name of the villain. We didn't get the villain's name in the first one, right?
Well, if we did, I didn't remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. But what is it? Vulpicula?
I was wondering if it was maybe Vulpicula, maybe it's like a chest sound with the C. I don't know.
Maybe, but all I can think of is like a bad Dracula kind of name. And just like I really like the Galaxy character, right? Which should be because this is Axelrod's character from that young adult graphic novel, and I really like what's going on with Hawkgirl itself. But man, this villain story and the Nth World and all of that, it's really not doing much for me.
Yeah. So we learn a little bit more about
Galaxy.
About Galaxy. And her girlfriend, Kendra's
class.
What?
Yeah. Well, so when they go off, the girlfriend has to go to class, and is worried about Galaxy and stuff, and Galaxy's don't worry about me.
You said class. I didn't hear what you said. I just heard
class.
A random sound coming out of me.
I said class, right? And so it's like, I'm good at torts and stuff, and So again, the characterization
what is a tort? Yeah. Somebody explain to me.
So tort, it's in law, right? It's one of those type of lawsuits. It's kind of like a class action, right?
Okay.
So there's tort law, and here in the States, there's been this right-wing push to dial back tort reform because tort reform put a lot of businesses, if they do something shady, you can sue them for it, and it makes it easy. And so here in her law class, that's apparently she's good at that, which I think will come into play later when it comes to unraveling shady stuff. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, there's just a lot of fun little characterization stuff like that, interaction between the characters that I think Axelrod's really good at. Some of maybe the bigger stuff that we'll get into, maybe not. But yeah, as you're saying with Kendra.
Yeah, Kendra's like, we see her, it's like those ghosts of all her past lives, like standing around her, and it's like she's having a conversation with them. But she's having some trouble with her wings. Galaxy kind of steps in and uses her powers to make it work. Meanwhile, the villain, Vulpicula, or whatever.
There you go.
I want to say it's like spatula, but with a V. It's like Vatula.
Well, I'm thinking because like the Latin form for a fox is vulpine, right?
Okay.
So I wonder if it is Vulpicula. So it's like a match of vulpine and Dracula, like whatever that suffix is. But yeah,
she's basically making monsters using nth metal, and she wants to make a lot more. And because it'll open a doorway to the Nth World or something like that. So that's made me think of Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, because it was like she has her own Tokar and Razor.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not Razor, Razor. Sorry.
Yeah.
I have to say it
Tokar and Razor. Except this one's a race car and a wolf dog.
Yes.
And
they're quite monstrous.
Instead of a snapping turtle.
But she's got her henchman, and Galaxy's helping Kendra with her wing issue by using her powers to like fill in the gap between her wings and her body or something like that.
Which I thought was really, really interesting, that she's seeming like the nth metal's not actually bonded with her. So now she fixed that because she can manipulate these energies and whatever. So I thought that was really an interesting thing for her, because Kendra's had these wings for it seems like an eternity, but yeah.
So Kendra's all happy about that, and basically Galaxy invites Kendra to go out for a drink, because Kendra owes her for helping her, which she does. It turns out to be a gay bar, which she wasn't expecting. And her friend ends up being there, Abeline, who I'm not familiar with this character, I don't think.
No, remember she was the one that she was meeting, that they hadn't seen each other since school in the beginning of the book, in the beginning of the first issue.
Okay, sure.
So this is her.
Yeah.
And she's shocked to see her there.
Yeah, is there anything from before that? I can't remember.
No, I don't think so. I just think it's the friend from high school that you haven't seen in a while. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
what are you doing here?
Also, Galaxy has a talking dog.
Who's her somehow is her bodyguard that took the form of a corgi, which I'm here for this dog. Like I will lay down for this corgi warrior.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Yeah. So it does seem like maybe they're building up to something with Kendra and this old friend. Maybe this whole idea of running into each other at a gay bar, even though Kendra didn't know she was in a gay bar, might lead to some sort of new type of relationship for Kendra. So be curious to see if they do something with that. The big thing is that the villain is looking for Ent Metal, and her trained attack dog wolf monster thing is smelling it out, and it leads them to the bar. And it's right after Kendra's been able to sort of forget all the past lives. This is actually the art is good. It's not great, I would say, but I do like this page though, because it's this really nice idea of she's dancing and the ghosts of her past lives are around her, but they kind of fade away into bright light as you go down the page, because it's like she's basically losing herself and she's not thinking about it.
She's in the moment. She's not. Yeah, she's not having the arguments with her past selves.
But then the villain shows up with her two monsters. They smash through the skylight, and the whole thing is, bit of a fight. Kendra gets her Hawkgirl gear on, and the villain pisses off after she basically snaps off one bit of her wing. She gets one little bit of it, and that's enough for now. The cliffhanger did ring a bit weird to me, and maybe it's just because I didn't remember this character from last issue. But the cliffhanger is that her friend picks up the mask which has fallen off during the fight, and she looks over to Kendra and says, "Who are you?" So it's doing the someone finds out the secret identity cliffhanger, right? Which is fine, but I felt like we hadn't built this character up enough yet for this to be a big deal. I don't know, I just kind of feel like I don't know. I'll be honest, I didn't realize she didn't know until this panel.
It's that and the villain's motivation stuff that really bogged this down for me, because I like all the character stuff with Kendra and her losing herself on the dance floor, because she's finally almost at peace with who she is, right? After Galaxy kind of fuses her wings to her, it's like she's whole now, right? And so now she doesn't have to have this inner monologue with all her past lives. She gets to be Kendra for the first time in a while. And I like all of that, and I like the stuff with Galaxy and her bodyguard corgi and girlfriend, and living in Metropolis, but trying to just make it work and whatever. And then it just gets weighed down by some of this more superhero-y stuff, I guess. So yeah, there's a weird balance there. And also Axelrod's style you could tell they come from novels, because there's a very, very heavy prose style in some of the not narration boxes, but storytelling boxes, I guess, in there. It feels that they're just cut out of a novel, which is fine. It doesn't really, but sometimes it really stands out against some of the more comic booky. It gets in the way of the flow sometimes at the page. But I think that's just as learning pains, right? Learning to write comics instead of novels. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting book. In that, it is taking its time with the characters, at least, the parts of it that I like. And I don't necessarily know if I want more of this villain. More is less when it comes to Vulpecula. So we'll see. And just the whole Nth World thing, it's just, I'm getting, that's Nightmare Stone material. I don't need an Nth World. So hopefully this is just something silly. It's some parallel, whatever. But yeah, also the story in the front with the dog, are we meant to be that the fox ate the dog after the dog dropped the meat in the river? Because it just says that the fox is hungry, right? I
feel like I get what you're talking about, but I feel like you've just burst into that with no context for anyone listening to this.
Yeah. So if you haven't read, I'll set it up. At the beginning, so what Vulpecula has been doing, right, in the narration is telling these almost Aesop's fables that deal with foxes. And in this one is this dog is on his way home, but he has to cross a river, and he looks into the river and sees a dog also holding meat, right, and starts staring off, and basically doesn't realize that it's his reflection. And then this fox comes up and basically lets him know, oh, let that dog have a bigger piece of meat than you have, right? kind of stoking this type of stuff. And then it says, but at the end, all the Fox knew is that it was hungry. So, and the dog, didn't have the meat anymore. So are we to take that the fox ate the dog, or that the fox ate the wet food? I'm not sure.
I think it was Fox ate the dog. The idea was it tricked the dog into basically drowning and then reap the rewards effectively.
Okay, gotcha. Which still doesn't get how it plays in with the book where it's she's turning people into race car monsters. But sure, I'm sure it'll all come around by issue 6. If we're still reading it by then.
Yeah, and this was kind of a mixed bag of an issue. Like, it's just maybe might not be high priority once more books launch.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that it's got an identity at least. But I did think this issue was definitely messier than the first one.
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure.
Were you giving it a 10?
I'll give it a 6.5.
Yeah, I was thinking about a 6.5. I think that feels right to me.